Well, CBC does it again. So there's a guy in St. John. I've just seen it. They announced that this guy was Friday. When is that? Anyway, this week he's going to set up a tent at 1 Argyle Street in St. John, where the welfare office is. That's funny, because when I set up a tent in front of the legislature 20 years ago, I was on UI, and when my UI ran out, I went to the welfare office in St. John. I told the guy, I said, listen, I'm in a tent in front of the legislature. If you don't want to give me a welfare check, I'll just move from Fredericton to St. John. He went in an office somewhere, and next thing you know, I'm on welfare. So that was the end of that. And this guy here sort of reminded me of a Brian Jones. But Brian Jones, that works at the TD Bank, the loan department, or whatever, he played the part of a homeless. This was before Christo met. He wanted to know what it was to be homeless. And that's the first time I met him. Nice guy. And you can't really know how it is to be homeless, to be on the street for 24 or 48 hours. You know, you really have to be down the dump. Now this guy here announced he was going to be starting his protest to be homeless on Friday morning. There's a few things wrong with this story. Listen to this.
A St. John man says he is going to spend 72 hours living outside to keep attention on the plight of people who do not have a place to call home.
I'm going to set my tent up at 1 Agar Place, which is the social development office in St. John, because I feel like that's a starting point to cause a ruckus.
Starting at 5 a.m. this Friday morning, Dan Scott says he's going to set up a tent and then try to make it on the streets until Monday morning at 5 a.m. He says he's got a tent and warm clothing and his phone, but other than that...
Why do homeless people have a phone? Why do metheads have a phone? Well, of course, we know why, but, you know. So, I had no phone when I lived in a tent in front of the legislature. Of course, in those days, 20 years ago, there was no smartphone. But I did go at the library, check my email, give them an update. So, for 3 days, he is going to be there. Of course, people are going to bring him clothes and be the center of attention. That's what people does. One thing about CBC,
he says he's
look at
going
this.
to rely solely on what would be available to the homeless population. He says he has friends who struggle with homelessness and addiction.
You see that there? And the first picture that was before, at the beginning of the story is film videos from the fake that James Oakle set up by the shelter in Fredericton. What? 5-6 years ago. And this is not true homelessness, but you see pictures of films of St. John and all that. So anyway, I wish him the best of luck, but it's not why. If you want to suffer, he says he wants to know the addiction. How are you going to find out about addiction in St. John if you're at the welfare office during the weekend? What are you going to do? How are you... Listen.
And he wants to increase understanding about how people can fall on hard times.
And I'm just going to try to survive out in the streets of St. John for 72 hours and just to raise awareness and connect with some of the people that are involved with the homelessness, the volunteers, some of the drug addicts, some of the people that are there not due to their own...
The drug addicts. So, the drug addicts all go in at the welfare office during the weekend. I didn't know that the welfare office is open during the weekend. So anyway, CBC, You got way too much time on your hand.